Hello, everybody. This is Football Psyche, and this is Coach Mad Mike.
And this is Mad Sarge.
All right, everybody. We are in week 3 of preseason. We have games that are just now underway on Friday night, and we have questions that we need to ask. What are we going to talk about there, Sarge?
So we're going to talk about what we talked about last week. Who are the key holdouts and hold-ins? What are the major injuries? And what are the top buzz stories for preseason week 3?
Oh, man, and there's a lot of buzz stories, But we want to bring you guys' attention to something that we are going to try to kick off next week on Saturday, our first live stream of this show. So please come participate. We don't just want to make videos. We want you to participate in the conversations. We know that this is a chance for men to get together and talk football. And you ladies out there, if you want to join in on it, you're always welcome.
Love to have you.
All right, so we have some major things that are going on. Major things that are going on.
It's going to be the week, huh?
This is the week because after the preseason games that happened this weekend, on Tuesday, by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, all teams must cut their 90-man rosters down to 53. There's going to be a whole lot of people who are going to be crying because they're not going to be making the team. There's also been several trades that have already happened around the league, but all the buzz that's going on right now, I would expect a few more, especially for those who have holdout contracts and their contracts have not been resolved. These players are requesting trades, and believe me, things are going to get crazy as people try to figure out what their teams are going to look like this year.
It's going to be, there's going to be a lot of hog swaggling.
And just remember that the waiver wire, it goes in the same direction as the draft picks. So when a player gets released from a team, they've got 24 hours there on the waiver wire. And so for a team like the Carolina Panthers, who had the number 1 overall pick, even though that trick got traded to Chicago, Chicago will not have the first dib on players when it hit the waiver wire. It will be Carolina, followed by the Commanders, and so forth.
Oh, so the waiver wire, Coach Mad Mike, goes by the original before trade placement of the teams for the draft.
That's right, for the draft order.
Where they found the draft, that's how they approach the waiver wire.
Right. So the waiver wire, the first 24 hours someone gets cut, you can assign them to their original contract under the waiver wire, and it goes in pecking order based off of the draft order. So like I said, if you're the Carolina Panthers, you get first dibs on everybody within that first 24 hours. Now, once that 24-hour clock expires, it's open for anybody. Okay?
So it's just the waiver wire really has the advantage for the last place team.
That's right.
The person, the team that was first in the draft because they were last year. So the waiver wire really benefits that team the most to try to get the best players possible. That makes sense.
In that order because it's supposed to keep the league more level. Right. And so as teams start releasing players, obviously the teams that didn't fare out so well last year have the best opportunity to try to improve their roster. But like I said, that has happened in 24 hours. And what's crazy about that is if everybody waits till 4 o'clock to release all their players, then general managers are having a headache trying to figure out who they're going to sign within 24 hours if they want to exercise somebody on the waiver wire.
No sleep for the coaches and the GMs.
None at all, because there's going to be a whole lot of hog swaggling going on there, and you've got to contact that agent, and you got to get that person signed within that 24-hour period. Otherwise, it's open for everybody.
Pressure's on.
Pressure's
on. So how do they plan for the game that week when they got all that going on?
Well, you kind of hope that the coaching staff is focused on that, but the director of player personnel, the general managers, and the scouting department is focusing on those pieces. Now, you should have already had your input prior to final cuts from your coaching staff, so you know what those cuts are going to be. But once you get to that point on Tuesday, I mean, they really are they really are on trying to figure out what this team's going to be like. Now, you got to remember, like that week, there are no further games. Like week 1 of the regular season doesn't start until
so they have a week to recover.
Yeah, they got about a week and a half or so because the first regular season game, I believe, is Thursday Night Football on the 5th of September.
5 September, yeah.
But for most teams, it's the 8th of September.
Right.
So you have a little bit of time. And so, yeah, coaches are still focusing on the players they have and what kind of schemes and stuff they're going to do and trying to get into a normal routine with these players, because you want to start getting them into the habit of going through a standard week, right? But when it comes to the hog swagger and goes on with players, man, it is getting ready to get deep and heavy. Also, once you're past that period of Tuesday, and the waiver wire period is done, you can now sign players to your practice squad.
Oh, wait. So you mean practice squad signings come after the waiver wire period finishes?
So I have to check on the latest rules on that. In the previous time is you had to wait for that 24-hour period before you can do that, because the idea is the waiver wire was reserved for players that would be on the 53-man roster. Now, rules change so quick that if somebody else wants to correct me, put your comments in the comment section and I'll take it, and we'll do that research. But historically, you had to wait that 24-hour period.
And you're right about the rules changing, because they already changed that dadgum kickoff rule in the second week of preseason. The new kickoff rule, it's already changed once back, and they don't know what they're doing with it. We can talk about that. Did you know that?
No, I did not even know that.
I caught you with that one.
Yeah, you did. So to let you know about the practice squad rules change every year too. And so the way it's set up this year is you can have 16 practice squad players, but you can have a 17th player on the practice squad if it's an IPP player. Now the rules behind that, which have also been adjusted again, is 10 of those players must have two or fewer seasons on that, but you can now carry up to 6 veterans on your practice squad. That means doesn't matter how long they've been in the league. If they don't have a job and they want to get signed to your practice squad, you can sign them to your practice squad. All right. And they get practice squad money for that. Practice squad money is actually no joke, people. During the regular season, it is $12,500 per week.
That's not bad.
That's not bad for being a practice squad player. While you're waiting
$50,000 a month, basically $48,000 a month.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Hanging out on the practice squad.
That'll buy you all you can eat breakfast at Denny's or IHOP.
But you get paid by the week, $12,500 by the week, because players can come and go off of that practice squad quite a bit, right? So you get paid by the week, and that's a pretty good chunk of change when you're trying to make things go wrong.
I wouldn't cry about that.
Nope. And the longer you can hold on to our practice squad, the more money you're going to make that year. So it's a pretty good deal for some of these young kids who are trying to figure things out, right?
Yep.
So pretty good deal there. All right. Well, let's move on here. There are some possible trade candidates that have been hitting the wires here that these are teams that have identified, we are putting this guy on the trade block. So if you want this guy, let's make a deal.
Yeah, Heineke's got to go. I'm a Heineke fan. What can I say?
I'm a Heineke fan too, and you know what? I wouldn't mind bringing him back because he's a baller. Even though I poo-pooed on him all the time that he was in Washington.
You're a fan?
I've always been
like Kamala Harris. You're flip-flopping.
And you know what? Somebody I don't understand on there is Malik Willis. I think Malik Willis would be a good guy. He's a Liberty product. I actually think he's a good football player. I don't think he was given a very good chance in Tennessee. So, I mean, he's a guy who could probably go somewhere and be a good, solid backup guy.
Tutu Atwell, I recognize who he is, and I'm surprised that he's on the block. They must feel they got better folks out there, or they can't afford him or something. But Tutu's been a good player for them.
Yeah.
So interesting.
So these are guys that are out there, not real huge, big names, but guys that I've been able to find that have been reported to be on the trade block.
Wow.
So for teams that need a guy, and these guys, if one of these guys is better than what you got in the locker room, you might be able to get these guys, and you might be able to get them on the cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
All right. So back to the holdout stuff, because we got to talk about the holdout stuff. So.
I love the dollar happy face.
Why are they holding out? It's because they want to get paid, Lord Sarge.
Oh man,
get paid. They see green dollar signs and it's made them stupid. And they want so much money, it just seems ridiculous. The general manager's like, yeah, I'm not paying that. They're just like, well, I'm not practicing. You're just like, okay, well, stand over there on the sideline then, because I'm not paying you what you're asking for. Brandon Ayuk is one of those guys. Brandon Ayuk is looking for a mega deal that's absolutely stupid. Not only to complicate matters even worse, I'm telling you what the news will not tell you, is Brandon Ayuk's asking a ridiculous amount of money. He's looking for a $32 to $34 million a year range contract on a long-term deal. And not only that, but the 49ers own his rights. So if you want to trade for him, the 49ers are asking a ridiculous price. They're going to want multiple draft picks because they look at him and they grade him out like a top 5 wide receiver. So you better come with some big draft capital for a guy, knowing that he's on the final year of his contract, and you're going to have to launch a major deal with him, paying a huge signing bonus if you really want to make all this happen. It is almost undoable for any team.
It's not going to happen.
That being said, the 49ers cannot agree to terms. They have had deals on the table. They have had Brandon Ayuk's requested a trade. They allowed him to seek trade offers. The 49ers aren't taking that serious. They're not taking it serious at all because they're asking for like something that they know a team will not give up to take.
Right.
The team apparently that was closest to getting a deal done was the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the Pittsburgh Steelers apparently said, okay, this is our final offer. Take it or leave it. 49ers said, yeah, we'll sit on it. So apparently the Commanders have called multiple times and they backed out. The Browns have called multiple times. They backed out. The Patriots have called multiple times. They backed out. There's really nobody other than the Pittsburgh Steelers seriously involved, but now there's some speculation that the Commanders might now be back.
Come back again? Oh, dear.
Because we traded John.
I think it's going to be a cancer that eats that offense from the inside because of all this poo-poo going on. It's going to pull them apart mentally. It's going to eat them like a cancer. This is not good for the Niners organization.
It's not good for the Niners organization. But I will skip down to what is that? The fourth bullet, since we're talking about the 49ers, is they have another issue in the locker room, and that's Trent Williams, their starting left tackle, the blindside guy, the number one offensive tackle, the number one offensive lineman probably in the NFL.
They better work things out with
is not even been in practice at all during preseason. He has not been there. He's been in Houston. He's been hanging out in Houston. He has not been in that facility in probably well over a month.
Wow.
And he has not shown up for anything. And he goes, I will not show up until you guarantee my money. He's got 3 years remaining on his contract. Technically, the 49ers can fine him for every single day he's absent. And those fines are accumulating because they will, whether or not the money actually gets paid out or not. We've talked about that in the past before.
Yep.
But no deal seems to be imminent. And we're getting ready to get to final cuts. And there has been nothing. So, like, if you're John Lynch of the 49ers, every day is a bad day for you.
Yep.
You don't have a solution for Brandon Ayuk, and you do not have a solution for Trent Williams. And your team is about ready to approach final cuts, and you are the defending NFC champions, and you're having a hard time holding your football team together right now.
Yeah. It's very interesting to see both the Cowboys and the Niners, long history of rivalry, both having similar issues. Very interesting.
Yeah, it is. And all right, well, let's talk about Jamar Chase because
Big one.
This has been escalating. This really happened in the past week.
Yeah,
he realized how much money everybody else was making, was not real happy about the situation. And he's just like, wait a minute, I'm getting paid pennies on the dollar compared to my peers that I know statistically I rate out just as well, if not better than.
Yep.
I'm not going to play on this. And they're just like, really, you're not serious, are you? And he goes, oh yeah, I'm going to show you how serious I am. He hasn't been to work since Tuesday. He's just like,
oh man,
the past few days he's been taking the days off. Like, screw it, I'm going to show you I'm serious.
He's got them by the short hairs, man. He's got them by the short hairs.
You know what? But this is the way the league is going right now. The league is in a very nasty, nasty place right now.
Oh, no.
I do not like where the NFL is right now because it is disgustingly nasty how these contracts are being worked, how players can just all of a sudden just like, screw it, I ain't doing it until you pay me. Like, you need to show me the money. The old Jerry Maguire saying, but that Jerry Maguire saying is on steroids these days. Yeah. It is ridiculous.
Yep.
And so let's talk about Alvin Kamara, because he's a different situation. He's not even exactly a hold in. He's like, I really need a new contract. You need to take care of me because the running back carousels kind of thing happened, and I haven't been paid.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's worth the money. He is worth the money.
And he goes, I'll practice, but don't make this an issue. You need to talk to my agent and get a deal done.
Right.
So it's something that's worth watching because he's not happy that these deals aren't done, but he wants to be there. Like he even says, I want to be part of the New Orleans Saints organization. Just take care of me.
He's a Saint through and through.
Yeah. So then that brings us to our boy CeeDee Lamb.
Hey, is he in Texas too with Trent Williams? So they eating steak together?
They might be, man. Maybe he's not even in Dallas. Maybe he's down in Houston with him. I don't know.
Oh, man, they're in Houston.
CeeDee Lamb apparently has not been at camp at all, period, in weeks. And they are nowhere near close to an agreement. Jerry Jones put a contract down that basically was laughed at. And it was just like, oh, dude, we are not even remotely in the same ballpark.
They're eating lamb shank steaks and watching ZZ Top down in Austin.
Oh, my gosh. If they even know who ZZ Top is. I don't even know if CeeDee Lamb and Trent Williams know who ZZ Top is.
Oh, my God. Oh, they do.
But then you have the Jets, Hassan Reddick, who's holed out. He's requested a trade. The Jets have said no. They said no the past couple of weeks. But they are no closer to a deal either. And the more that they even open a conversation, apparently the latest news was anytime that they try to talk about contract, he goes, yeah, about that trade. About that trade. You are trading me, right?
Oh, Lord.
And the Jets have dug in and said, we're not trading you. And he goes, okay, I'm not showing up.
He don't have any money.
These are all situations. You could probably make the exception of Alvin Kamara. I wanted to put it in there because I wanted to show an example of what I think somebody who's handling the situation correctly is. You let them know your intent. Like, yeah, you're not necessarily exercising leverage, but they know that you can. But you're saying, listen, I want to be here. Let's just get it done.
Let's work together.
Yeah, let's work. The rest of these
here, I want to help me a little bit. You know, I'm not asking for the entire world, guaranteeing 3 years of my last 3 years of my entire salary. I'm not asking for that. Just take care of me a little bit. Yep. Yeah,
just take care of me. The rest of the other guys on this list, the other 5 on these lists are what I consider players with attitudes.
Oh yeah, big attitude.
Like a whole lot of diva going on. Like if you don't give me what I want, screw you. I ain't doing nothing.
All right, Coach. So this is all going to come down to the wire and a decision by next Tuesday. That's what you're saying? All this has to be sewed up?
So now, technically, you can hold out into the season.
That's what I thought.
But you're using game checks, and you're still getting fined at all your salaries and everything else like that, which is not where any organization wants to be because they count on your roster.
How long can you hold out?
You can hold out for the whole freaking year if you want.
Really?
You can hold out as long as you want. You're just not getting paid. It is leave without pay. It's leave without pay, and you count on their books as part of the 53-man roster, and your services are.
And you still count against the salary cap, right?
You still count against the salary cap, even though you're not writing the checks.
Yep. That's a no-win for a team.
It's no win. So you basically.
Other than they didn't spend the money. Right? They didn't spend the money. It's there, right? They'll catch it up next year. It gets applied to next year, right?
So I think technically what happens is it's payroll. You have to pay it, and then you have to process the fine to make them pay the fine. And that's the accounting kind of piece. I know some people might be into that. Some people might not be. But, like, technically payroll gets executed, but the player then gets fined.
Yeah.
the money. And so
like the IRS coming for your money in your house.
That's right. Like you still get your paycheck, but taxes are due.
We're going to garnish it, baby.
We're going to garnish you taxes and fees, man. Now,
Ooh.
I don't know if they garnish your paycheck or not on that. Like I would probably need to talk to a real player to determine that. But like they do take that.
Try to get a hold of Trent and CD. We should try to call him, tell him about the show, and see if we can get him on the air. Let's get to the bottom of this. We should make a few phone calls there, Coach.
Yeah, because I just be curious on what happens.
Can you imagine having them boys on here?
Oh my God, it'd be so much fun.
Tearing them up.
And, I wouldn't care about their own individual situations because they probably don't want to be hounded about that. But I just want to know procedurally, like, how does that work?
Right.
Like you get fined. Do you get a fine slip in the mail that you got to pay? Do you get a bill, or do they just garnish your wages, or what do they do? That'd be really curious to know how they handle that.
It's cool.
So major injuries, I did not list major injuries this week because there's a lot of them. What I'm going to say is players are going to get categorized in two different categories heading into Tuesday. By Tuesday, when they cut their roster down, injuries play a part of that.
Yep.
In order for somebody to stay on your roster above the 53 and not be counted part of your practice squad, you have to, and they have an injury, you can either put them on the player unable to perform list, and the PUP list is defined as an injury that you incurred that was not football related. If you go on that list, you do not count against the 53, but you cannot return until week 5 at the earliest.
And when you do return, they got to cut someone.
Now, injured reserve is a football-related injury. If they put you on IR, they can do something called the designation to return designation. If they do that, then the first chance that they can pick you up then is on week 7, but then they got to cut somebody, right? They could put you on season-ending IR, which you're on IR, you don't count the roster, but then you're done for the whole season.
All right.
Some players, if they feel like that they can come back, they want that designation to return thing because they want to incur.
Like Cousins last year or Rodgers last year.
Yeah, they want to be able to come back and get some reps in, and they don't want to lose a whole year, right? So most teams at this point will get updated medical reports and stuff like that. So for us to go through like injuries that we hear, a lot of it's rumor, we don't know. Believe me, medical staff right now are going crazy, pulling anybody who's got a bump and bruise into the office because those are all decision points. How serious is your injury? I'm going to medically evaluate you. I'm going to conduct MRIs, X-rays, everything. I'm going to move those knees around. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to figure out how healthy you are. Because if you're not healthy, and if it's not football related, you might end up on my PUP list. If it is football related, you might end up on my IR list with a designation return tag.
Makes sense.
All right. And it helps them manage this roster.
Yep. Busy in the NFL this week.
Right.
I love your injured smiley. It's funny.
Bumps and bruises, baby.
You find these stupid smiley faces, but they're good. But you gotta amen on that one.
There you go, man. So if you want to know if someone's going to hit your IR or PUP list, I would just recommend you go to that team's websites. As they get to final cuts, believe me, those lists will get populated. Because they won't want somebody who's injured to hit the street, because once they get healthy, another team will sign them, and you're back at that again, right? So, all right. So preseason is going on right now. Preseason week 3 tonight is Friday, and games are going on right now as we speak. The Falcons and Jaguars are playing right now. The Dolphins and Buccaneers are playing right now. And later tonight, the Raiders and 49ers are going to play. And then tomorrow, you got a whole host of games, and then we got a few on Sunday. But by the time the Commanders play the Patriots on Sunday night, everything is about wheeling and dealing, and teams are hog-swaggling, and there's a whole lot of film watching going on because teams are watching everybody's preseason game 3 films. People are trying to get all of their evaluations done, and because they've got from pretty much when they finish their 3rd preseason game and you're back at your home station, you got from that time until 4 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday to determine what your roster is going to be. And oh, by the way, don't think that's all the work you got to do. You're also paying attention to what all the 31 other teams are doing because you're trying to figure out who you're going to claim. Yeah, you got to figure out who might improve your team that gets released by somebody else.
Right, exactly.
There's a lot of work going on. Believe me, there's a lot
of poker playing. Yep.
Coffee pots are in full force, like remember in the Army when we had those big old silver bullets?
Yeah.
Man, there's a whole lot of silver bullets going on, man.
Oh, man, yeah. Black coffee all around. No sugar in those coffee pots. Oof.
I hear that these are the times of year that if you have a cot in your office, you're using it. You're not going home.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Because somebody can call your phone at 2:30 in the morning. You're right there in your office.
Yeah, you got to burn it at both ends to get through this.
Like Adam Peters, he doesn't get any sleep between now and probably through next Friday. By the time he has his practice squad filled out. There is so many tasks to do, and your phone is constantly ringing anytime. And general managers know that there's just a general rule out there. There is no time that is too late to call you or too early.
Yeah.
It's a 24-hour clock. If you need to speak to somebody and it's 3:45 in the morning, you call them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're up. Or they're waking up to answer the phone. They're there. So it's a rough business. But that's what they get paid to do.
Yep.
All right, so tell us about your slide here.
All right, so preseason week 2, we got to review what happened in week 2.
There you go.
And in week 2, of course, the Chiefs lost again to my Lions. Go Lions. They actually played again and lost again. The Chiefs are 0-3 in preseason.
Does it matter?
You know, they're standouts. So they got our boy. Remember Reese Zammit? Our IPP guy. I've been watching him.
Our IPP guy.
They're using him everywhere. Kickoff returns. He's doing punt returns. He's doing wide receiver. He's carrying the ball as a halfback, and he's been a slot guy. This guy has been the most versatile guy I've ever seen. I do not know what coaching they have planned for this guy, but watching the play of the century, the backhanded pass to Kelsey. Did you see that one?
I did not.
Behind the back flicker to Kelsey for 6 yards. That apparently they've been practicing. Coach has got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. A lot of tricks, and Zammit's one of them.
So you think Reese Zammit's going to make the 53?
I do. They put him everywhere, and he's good.
A 2-time Super Bowl winning team is going to give up one of their 53-man slots to an IPPP player.
Yeah, I think he makes.
Wow.
He looks that you don't put a guy in that many looks unless one, you have no clue what to do with him, or you're seeing how versatile, because you know the Chiefs like to do that. They like to get guys who can play multiple positions. They love that stuff. And they moved him everywhere. Another breakdown.
Mostly lining up at, because I haven't been paying attention.
Kick and punt returns mostly, but he's
on special teams.
Special teams, but he's also been on the offense. He's blocked. I mean, this kid has been moved everywhere. It's pretty amazing.
Okay.
It says a lot about him too, about his talent, right? That they even.
Yeah, I heard he has an extraordinary work ethic, and he's a freakish athlete, and
So the fact that they put you in the position to see how you'll do means that they see enough in you that they think you could do something, right? The other breakout
rugby player
in the preseason is their guy, their new halfback named Carson Steele. This guy's got Goldilocks hair, 6'2", 228 pounds. He reminds me, I know don't hate on me. Who's your favorite running back with a Commander or with the Skins of all time?
Of all time?
Mm-hmm.
Portis, probably.
Portis, really?
I do. I love Portis a lot. I know you're going to say John Riggins, but I
was going to say Riggo. He reminds me of Riggo.
Riggo is everybody's favorite, and I do like Riggo, but and Riggo was the guy I saw at my very first game, so he ranks up there, right? But just for being
this guy's big, he's fast, he carries bodies, and he's gaining yards. Across the league, some of the best running I've seen. It's been crazy. Next thing I wanted to talk about, the Bears continue to impress, as does Philly. And I'm talking in depth. Their depth looks insanely solid. Not to mention the first team. But they're dismantling teams. It's amazing. I think Tampa Bay and Jacksonville look solid, more so than maybe we anticipated. Like surprises, right? Jax took out the Chiefs. We're going to see what happens.
Well, all four of those teams that you have in that little middle section there are all four teams that we projected would make the playoffs.
I'm seeing it.
And so when you do have that depth, that helps because when injuries do start kicking in, and believe me, I'm predicting that we're going to have a buttload of injuries this year. And the reason why is because none of these players are even playing.
Yeah.
Like the work ethic I'm seeing of NFL teams right now of getting your starters the reps that they need, it's like so absent to me. And the telltale sign is we went from 4 games down to 3 in preseason.
Mm-hmm.
And the dress rehearsal game used to be game 3 when you had 4. It's supposed to be game 2 when you have 3, but they didn't play it that way this year. I was shocked. Like we talked about this when we were talking about the Commanders game, and starters should have played into the third quarter of that game if it was under the kind of formula, old school formula. That did not happen at all across the league.
Mm-mm.
They're bubble wrapping these kids so much that by week 1, when they're actually full contact, full speed going 4 quarters of football, believe me, the injuries are going to mount, and they're going to mount fast because they're not ready for it.
Well, Mahomes played this last game again, first 2 series, and did his little, this pass. So they played. Awesome. There's been some weird standouts like that, right? So there was decisions made finally on starters. Bo Nix is going to start in Denver. Fields is named the starter, I believe. Is that true? That's what I heard.
I didn't hear that one, but that's interesting.
Yeah. Daniels is the starter.
Yep, that's true.
Bears got their starter. Notable standouts. Goff hasn't played it down, and neither has Aaron Rodgers. Interesting.
Goff surprises me. Aaron Rodgers is such a diva. It doesn't surprise me at all. And this is going to be Rodgers last year. I have no doubt about it.
Certainly. Do you see the memes with
him almost
and kissing puppies? That's what he's been doing.
That dude's probably smoking a lot of weed or something. I have no idea.
I'm telling you.
I don't even know what Rodgers is doing still in the league. He for the past several years, ever since he was within Green Bay, like the final 3 years that he was in Green Bay, he looked already checked out. When he went to the Giants, he played 5 minutes, got hurt. Or excuse me, not Giants, but the Jets. He got to the Jets, played 5 minutes, got hurt, and then he just doesn't have it anymore. And it's weird because I hear people say he's still like a top 5 quarterback. I don't know if that's true.
Well, we're going to find out real quick, aren't we?
I'm going to be surprised if he doesn't last 5 minutes in a game. He's going to be one of those guys that get added to their injury report very early.
Oh, man. So that was my update from preseason week 2.
That's pretty good stuff there. Now, you sent me this article on Tom Brady, which, we've got to talk about this because how many times over the past 3 years have I worn your butt out about what I think about the NFL these days?
Yep. So,
I've been telling you for the past 3 or probably at least the past 3 years about how much the league is declining. The league is declining so rapidly bad. And here you finally, players not going to say it when they're still under the rules of the NFL, of player conduct and stuff like that. You do not shield bash the NFL shield when you're a friggin' NFL player.
Yeah.
You will get fined. You will get friggin', it's just not a good thing. But Brady works for Fox now. And so he
has a point. I really do. You and I have
talked about a huge point. But I've been saying this for 3 years now.
Yep.
And I have. Because we've seen things where everybody's a copycat lead and they go to this prevent defense and then they throw around these stupid terms like, we follow the analytics when darn good and well there's no analytics to anything that they're talking about. That everything's been dumbed down and washed out. And
now, the only irony that I have from where Brady's coming from is Brady was treated exactly the same way. They drafted him. He was behind Bledsoe. Bledsoe went down in game 7. He came in, and it worked. He had 7 games in the pros, right? So then there was a competition the next year. He wound up winning it out. Bledsoe was pretty much done by then. So even though Brady's saying this, that's not Brady actually came under the system and he's poo-pooing on.
Well, I mean, but
he didn't have 3 years like Aaron Rodgers or 4 years, under someone.
But I think this goes deeper, right? Because and I saw his point. The more I read that article, and the more I thought about it, it's a very big systemic problem that happens all the way back in college now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see the league further decline because of NIL.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see the league further decline because schools are not developing players anymore.
Well, this is why you're saying Bo Nix is having, and why he won the position, because he's like a he's not a true rookie from that standpoint, because he had extra time in college to develop. So he's really coming in and more advanced than the other folks, and it's showing up in the playing.
Yeah, he was declared as a guy that in college ran a pro type system and did it for many, many years. And I think that's brilliant, right? Like if I'm looking for players as a scout and I go, listen, I got this guy and I got film on him and he's been under a pro-like system for 3 or 4 years. To me, that's 3 or 4 years of experience of at least understanding the system.
That was a buzz today,
Even if you're not going up against the same talent, at least you understand the same system.
Yep.
When you come from a place where you don't have the talent nor the system, you don't really know what you got in a player.
Right.
And so
I would like Brady said, you've learned a playbook.
Yeah. And so I like his comment here that, you're no longer learning a program. You're now just learning a playbook. Okay. Yeah. Hey, here's your first, second, and third read on this play.
Yep.
Now
Peyton Manning and his brother have taken issue with Brady's comments. They
what was that?
They invited him on their show.
Okay.
Belichick also disagrees. Yeah. So Brady might be appearing on their podcast.
Well, I think that would be wonderful, and we might need to show and comment to part of that podcast, because I would say I would agree with Brady. And I think that we're going to, and even if Peyton Manning's view is we don't see the effects of that being as transparent, like how much of that is speculative, and maybe Belichick might say that too, because some of these guys are coming up in pro systems now, and they're doing the same type of preparation per week. They'll argue, hey, we're going through the same kind of drills. We're going through the same kind of film watching. We're doing the same things that a pro player would do at the college level, which is probably the counter argument that Brady and Belichick would make. But I think what Brady will come back and say is you will not see the true effects of how much this is going to decline until we get past the next 3 or 4 years, right? Because what you're going to see that's happening is a lot of these unique playbooks and everything else like that are so dumbed down. It's almost like a cookie cutter playbook that everybody gets. That's why you can see players that leave from one team on a Thursday, and that Sunday they're already playing in the game. It's not that much of a leap to look at their playbook and go, yeah, okay, I know that. This is cookie cutter.
A slant is a slant, right?
Yeah, but it's more than that.
Things that are going to be the same, right? But
yeah, a lot of the plays, because again, just like the prevent that we went through a few years ago where everybody was doing the prevent, a lot of teams have a lot of the same plays. A lot of the same plays, because they'll copy them, right? And they'll go, when some team goes somewhere else, they go, oh, you were really good at these 3 plays. We're going to add those to our playbook, right? Like the plays are just so like cookie cutter across the board in the NFL. And now they're bleeding that way into the college ranks too. But that also goes back into what Tom Brady says is there's not a lot of like development and concept and stuff. It's like, it's very easy for a guy to plug and play a guy. And you're just like, you either learn it or you're gone. We're not going to really invest any time into you.
Well, you see, that's what Peyton Manning's point is by disagreeing with Brady. What he actually said, to go deeper, and you'll know why I'm in the middle between them both. He said they don't give rookies enough time. You know what record Peyton Manning still holds?
Yeah, the most interceptions is rookie year.
His rookie year, right. But they didn't quit on him. The need to make money and have a winning program is so stark, and everyone's so hot and heavy looking for their next franchise QB that they don't give rookies enough time to go out and fail and then learn. And that's kind of what Peyton Manning is saying. He's like, if you choose a guy, you choose the right character. You choose the right character.
I agree with that.
Right? And then you give him the time to fail. Right?
But I think Brady will tell you that the tragedy part that the true tragedy is the game's been dumbed down. There is no development in players. You either perform or you're done.
Yeah.
I mean, when
you pull a Quinn and you get the number 2 draft pick QB in Daniels and you don't give him a left tackle. You're just begging for him to get hurt and put out of the game. You're just begging.
Yeah, that's a whole different issue. But
right? But I mean, it goes to how teams are developing their players, right? And what chance for success are they giving them based on the player personnel they put around them?
Right, because I will tell you, like the going position, like for most teams now, is if I draft you, you're starting.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the way that it was. The way that it was is if you're drafting, you're sitting and you're learning.
You're a rookie. You're going to learn.
You're going to learn.
Get me some water and watch the big boys play.
Yep. And that's right. And you're going to develop under these veterans. And when we think you're ready, then we're going to move you in. And we've seen a lot of success when that model is actually exercised, but not too many teams do use that model anymore.
The league moves so fast now, and there's so much money tied up in it.
But then there is no development. I think that's Brady's point. There is no development.
Right.
What happens is you either perform or you suck. You clearly don't have it. You're not gifted at this. We're moving on to the next shiny penny.
Yeah. And
so you could literally draft a guy this year, and by next year, you're out of love with that guy.
That's exactly what happened in my opinion, happened to Sam Howell. I watched him very close. When he wasn't running for his life, his mechanics were good. He's a good pocket guy. His reads were good. His arm was good. He did not have enough around him to really get a chance to gel. And they just turned the switch off and said, that's it, you're done. When I think he's going to shine in Seattle, I really do. Because I think they'll develop him. Just my 2 cents.
So I think what happens is when you have one success story of a single player, again, it's a copycat league, right?
Yep.
So you have a guy like CJ Stroud last year.
Yeah. Everyone wants that shiny penny, yeah.
Everybody wants a CJ Stroud. Before that, it was like a Brock Purdy taken in the 7th round, right? Ooh, maybe he's the next freaking Tom Brady. You know, a guy that slipped through the cracks and, you know, he's the shiny penny, you know, and we want that, you know, and then it's just like, oh, we need a more mobile quarterback. Everybody wants the mobile quarterback right now, right? So it's just like, well, if you're not mobile, you know, then you're nothing, right? So like it's just really weird how people look at this. What I'm trying to look up right now is here's the quarterbacks I want to give you for last year. How many people thought that these guys were great, and where are they now? In the first round last year, I'm not talking about this past draft. I'm talking about 2023's draft.
Right.
Okay. The first round quarterbacks, the guy who was taken first overall was Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm. And he might be coming into his own this year finally.
He might be.
But he's still there.
You don't hear a lot about him though. Number 2 is CJ Stroud. Obviously, everybody knows who he is.
Yep.
Doing the great work he's doing in there. The next guy who's taken 4th overall was Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, who's he? Where is he? Is he in the league? Is he gone? Who?
Yeah, Anthony Richardson. See, my point is it's like, how quick do we?
And really, one guy was a breakout. Bryce was kind of like a medium flop, right?
So he's with the Colts, and he came out of Florida, and so like, but you don't hear a lot about him, right? It's just like he was the shiny penny then, but it's just like it happens that quick. Yep. And then when you get into like 2nd round grades and stuff like that, you don't hear about these guys anymore because it's like, why aren't they being developed? Like, why have you given up on them so quick? Will Levi's was the 2nd round. The 3rd round was Hendon Hooker.
Now Hooker might get playing time this year. Finally,
he might.
Finally. He stays healthy. He might up in Detroit.
But those were the top 5 quarterbacks a year ago. This year, who are the 5 top quarterbacks?
All of them are starters. Every single
They're
one,
all starters,
except for
right?
maybe Fields. I got to check that, but I think Fields is going to be the starter.
Well, Fields is not a rookie, but like
that's right. That's right. Yeah, all the rookies are starters. Yeah.
Yeah, the rookies. I mean, I think the one, JJ McCarthy.
He got injured, but he would have got it.
Yeah, he would have got it, but he got injured, and he's the first one in NFL history to hit the IR and not get a single down his rookie year. So, which is very unfortunate for him.
Yeah, very.
But like a year from now, we might think like 2 or 3 of these guys just suck. It's all going to determine this year. They either have to perform or we're going to think that they're a bust. Like our attention span is so short, like we're going to be declaring them bust already, and that we need to be looking for somebody else in the draft.
If all these new rookie QBs don't get to the playoffs, even as a wild card, they'll turn over. That's like the standard. We're going to put you out there, and we want to get to the playoffs. We're not getting to the playoffs. Well, your job's on the line.
I will tell you, if I was a general manager, what I would do, I would be looking for them to hit the street. I would be shopping based off of what other teams cut, because I would keep my game film from year to year and go, okay, he lasted a year with the Colts, let's say, for example, and he's back on the street. I'll take him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll develop.
Like, does he fit your scheme? Does he have the right character?
Yeah.
Interview the kid,
because I might not have been able to move up in the draft to get him, and you held on to him for a year, but he's still the same person.
Yes.
You just didn't develop him, and he didn't work for you.
And that's what Manning and Eli, both Peyton and Eli, are saying. You hire the guy based on the character, what his work ethic is.
I think that's what Pittsburgh did when they went and got Fields.
Yeah.
He was there, and I think they made a great move. He was in Chicago, and he was struggling, and he was trying to do it, but they had all the background on him, and they're just like, he's in the wrong situation. And apparently Mike Tomlin was just like, oh no, he would work real well here.
Mm-hmm.
And even with getting Russell Wilson, he was just like, I'll take him.
Yep.
And he might beat out Russell Wilson.
Yep. But if he pays attention, Fields is going to get that schooling, right? He's got someone.
Exactly. And the thing is, they didn't break the bank for either one of these two guys.
See, I'm kind of in between. So as you'll notice behind me, I'm kind of in between. I think that NFL's outdated stadiums. I think owners are stupid. So I went out and got some AI renditions of what stadiums would look like. AI helped me out. You got the Titans down in Tennessee. You got the Texans with the bullhorn.
Is that the Nashville one there with the guitar?
That's right. You see?
Oh, I like that one.
You see, you got the Coliseum. So,
that would be cool.
I'm a new thinker. Get rid of the old. Get the new rookie. Get the shiny penny in.
The problem is those stadiums will cost $1 billion+, man.
Boy, wouldn't they? Oh, man. So, yeah, I just thought I saw that come up in the news, and I was like, wow. And Belichick jumped in on that too. So it was kind of like it's a very interesting discussion. And I can't wait to see Brady's face on commentary, actually on games, talking about this kind of stuff from his perspective. The guy is long in the tooth. There's not much that guy does not know about football. But I can say the same about Peyton, right?
Oh, yeah.
Peyton learned from Hard Knocks. He still holds the record for the most picks as a rookie.
Yeah, and my thing is today, and Peyton might destroy his own argument, because Brady, all he has to do is say, you know what, under today's rules, you wouldn't have made it past your rookie year.
Yep.
Nobody would have given you another chance. People would have already called you a bust, and they would have thrown you on the street.
That's exactly what would have happened. 100% would have happened.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have been who you are today.
Look at Zach Wilson was a shiny penny with the Jets. Where is he now? He's playing in Denver, right? So
I can go through a whole laundry list of quarterbacks that in modern times, that if you would have used the same criteria against you, Peyton Manning, as you do them, you wouldn't have been in the league.
Yep. That's right. Yeah,
and nobody would know what your name is. People would be like, Peyton who?
That's a great point.
Right?
Eli as well. Eli was really rough.
Yeah.
I'll tell you another guy that's on the block that I've seen has the talent.
Yeah, and Eli started off rubbing a lot of people wrong in the NFL. Because when Eli came in,
Giants is that kind of a guy. He looks like he has the skills. Sometimes when he comes out and throws 2 farts in the first preseason, he gets 2 series and throws a pick. And you're like, get this kid out of there.
But to see Eli, when he came into the league, and he already ruffled everybody's feathers because when he didn't want to be drafted, he's just like, I don't like this whole draft rule thing. The Chargers held the pick, and he goes, I am not going to the Chargers. The Chargers go, you go where you want to. The NFL goes, you go where you get drafted. And he goes, no, I'm not playing for them. And the Chargers went ahead and drafted him anyway. He goes, I'm not playing for you. And then all of a sudden, they have to jump out their butt and work a deal with the Giants to get him to go there and work that out. And, the rest is history. But, like, he started off bad. Like, if you try to pull some of those kind of shenanigans and stuff like that, I mean, teams today would lose interest in you so fast, man.
Yep.
So fast. Like, they don't give rookies are on a very, very short lease. I see players that just get tossed around. They'll jump 3 or 4 teams before they get established. And they're learning on the road.
Yep.
And they have to fight and scrap for a job because no one's really investing time in them. What I see a lot of players doing right now is they're huddling up with each other and they're developing each other. Like, hey, dude, help me out, man. Like, how do you do that? They're not learning from coaches. Coaches are almost the same way too now. Like, hey, you're going to go through the drill I put you through because I'm assessing you. Like, wait a minute. I thought you were coaching me. No, I'm assessing you. I'm determining whether or not I'm going to cut your ass tonight or not.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to keep you around.
I bought you off the shelf with a set of skills. If those skills aren't present on the field, then I'm assessing whether or not I'm trading you back in. I'm not investing. I didn't buy half a clay pot. I bought the whole clay pot with the design and ink. So if I don't get my clay pot exactly what I was told I would get, then you're out.
That's right. And if you don't perform, I've got 7 other people on my list to call.
Many other clay pots. So
that's it. You're gone. And players just like, wow, they're not invested in me at all.
It's not like Joe Gibbs, the greats, or those head coaches that really reached down and developed, Madden, that developed their players and stuck in when they even, the league has really changed.
Well, I think
it's not like I'm an expert. I'm just saying
it's changed a lot. And I think one of the saving graces that I think for a lot of scouts, because scouts are trying to figure this thing out too. Like, how do I really assess a player that gets thrown all over the place? Is this guy good or is he not good? One of the things that I like is, how the NFL has subsidized the UFL and the establishment of that. Because now in the offseason, they have another league for these players to go play and demonstrate their skill set. And you have more film. You have a chance to kind of get around those coaches. Hey, what is this player all about?
Hopefully that'll slow
Hopefully that will help it.
Right? Slow it down just a little bit.
Yeah, maybe like the minor leagues of baseball, right? It will help. But we'll see.
Yeah, very interesting.
All right.
Oh, I had one other standout. I'm sorry to keep coming back to the Chiefs. I am not a Chiefs fan. It's Morty, the fastest player ever in the NFL. Caught his first TD pass.
Okay, well, about time, man. You got to run it.
Guess who? Carson Wentz threw a ball in the corner. He just ran under and said hello like a little bird.
Carson Wentz has a good arm.
Right on his shoulder.
Yeah, Carson Wentz has a great arm. There's a reason why he was successful as long as he was his great arm.
He does not look like Carson Wentz with the Commanders. He does not look the same.
Well, you cannot put anything in the preseason. Let me tell you something about Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz has always had the arm.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz, his issue is when the game's on the line and things get, he gets pressured and people are freaking got their ears pinned back and coming after you. He deteriorates very fast. We saw that. With the Colts. And once they had his number in the Colts, he's never been the same again. He went to Washington. It just was a disaster.
Something's different.
He's done. He is done.
Something is different.
What's different is it's preseason and nobody's coming after you.
I think he washed his hands. I think he got the glue off because he's releasing the ball a lot quicker. And maybe who's around him. Now he is playing second string. No, I get it. I get it, right?
I don't believe any of that stuff. And you got to remember, I told you this stuff last week. It is fool's gold. Anytime you take anything for credit out of preseason.
All right.
You don't do that at all. first of all, you don't know what they see in practice all along right now. He might not even make the roster. So if he's locked in as the number 2,
the guy, unless he was sure he could work. So there's just something different. I can't put my finger. There's just watching that last game. I was like,
anything and everything that you want to see on Carson Wentz, you've seen it through his career. There is nothing different.
He's a bust, in my opinion, but he looks different.
I'm going to tell you right now, he's not different.
I want to say relaxed.
I think the thing that you see different is he's going up against scrubs in a game that doesn't matter.
He went up against a pressure defense. He went
when you're in a situation where your game doesn't matter. You're playing against players that are not top-tier elite players that are putting the stress on you, and you're not before a stadium crowd that's like screaming, yelling because this game's on the line kind of thing. Because believe me, people go to preseason game, they care more about their freaking hot dog than what's going on in the game.
I'll tell you something. It wasn't that way in Kansas City with the Lions. They were coming after him. And you know what? He didn't look like the same guy we saw him play against the Jags, remember? And they barely squeaked. I mean, he
wasn't going against starters.
Fans ready to throw our hats at him because we're like, are you that damn dumb? And he didn't get any better. He actually got worse. Something changed. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's called second string. That's what changed.
All right. Maybe that's what it is.
And third string
keeps going all over the place.
It's rotation of second and third string players on the football field. You do not have elite edge rushers chasing you down. You don't have elite DBs out there freaking picking off your passes. So that's the difference. So anyway, that's our show, brother. Man, this was so much fun. It's so great to talk football with you, man.
It's amazing. I love it. And we're about to kick this season
off. Who are still paying attention, please like and subscribe to our channel. We would love to hear from you. Make some comments in there and tell you.
We're going to the Giants Commanders game.
We are. We bought tickets today. Pay attention to our show, the Commanders Edition, that happens live every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And next week, on Saturday, we will do this show live. And we want you to, and that's at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And we would love to be able to have you come participate. Don't just watch the videos. We want people who participate and want to talk football.
Give us feedback.
All right,
guys. Peace out, Mike. I love you, man. Coach Mike.